What's going on, guys? Adam here.
And Justin with episode 2.
Dose of D&D creation. Or of D&D for new people and newbies.
We're still better than the first 3 Star Wars.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I actually prefer the first 3 over the last 3. Like the most recent ones, I hated those.
Oh, they're no longer canon.
Awesome. Okay, so today we'll be going over character creation and the lengthy, well, I say lengthy, but the fun process. And again, character creation, just like the first episode, have fun.
I love character creation.
It's the best. And you can either make a character, I know that Justin and I can make characters in like 30 minutes.
Or less.
Or less.
Or it's free.
Yeah.
Like Pizza Hut.
But
Back in the day.
have fun with it. So we are going to make a character with you guys. Not with you guys, but you're going to watch us build a character. We're going to explain things as we go along, but more importantly, we're going to do it by the book. So we actually have, it's just a PDF version, but we do have the actual player's handbook pulled up as well. That way you guys know exactly where we're getting all this information from. So when you eventually do this, and again, we literally just Googled this.
Yeah, so, or you can pull it up in D&D Beyond, but I wanted something a little more visual for everyone.
And this is exactly how the book looks. This isn't a PDF, it's the PDF version, but this is literally how the book looks. So, step 1, we are going to choose a race. And so, we are going to build the easiest character. And so, but first, let's go ahead and look at a more in-depth look. We are going to play as a human. But first, let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at all of them. And again, on the D&D Beyond website, you can actually view Dragonborn details. So Dragonborn, you know, and like I said, Dragonborn, I've always viewed them as, earlier I had used the term like uppity.
Yeah.
I think they really are more, they're kind of like Aracocorns, whatever. They're very proudful. They know nothing but pride. And so each character, each race does have something special about it. I love playing as Dragonborn. And so, for instance, the special thing about Dragonborn is you can actually be different types of dragons. You got black, blue, brass, bronze, copper, gold, green, red, silver, and white. And what that determines is, A, what kind of dragon are you? If you are a classic red dragon, you're a fire dragon. And that means you breathe fire, like any classic dragon. But if I'm, say, black, acid.
Yeah.
I always thought black was curse.
No. Acid.
Stupid. Okay, whatever. What's green?
Poison.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so if you play as a bronze dragon, what used to be yellow, you're a lightning dragon. So you spew lightning. And so you have things like, again, your color, your breath weapon, and that also means if I'm a red dragon, that means I'm fire. I'm not 100% resistant to fire, but if
half damage.
So I can stand in a pool of fire, or a puddle, pond, pile.
I think
I can stand in a thing of fire. I'll still take damage, but not as much as, say, like an elf or a human. It'll still hurt me, but it's like, no big deal. Kind of like living in Texas.
Oh, actually, no. We are mistaken because they have changed that. You have resistance to the damage
side. You're just overall resistant to it?
Yeah, so if you are a red, you're
just fire resistant.
Yeah, you are.
I guess that makes sense. You're breathing it. So now the thing is that when you play as any class besides human, you also have natural language. So that means if you are Dragonborn, you speak Draconic and Common. Common is English, what we're speaking. This is considered Common. Draconic, that's the tongue of dragons. Play as an elf, you speak Elvish. Play as a gnome, you speak Gnomish. Play as a Tabaxi, you speak Tabaxic. Play as a Kenku, Tabaxic?
Actually, Tabaxi doesn't have their own language.
Tabaxi doesn't have a language? I've only played as Tabaxi like one time. I got
Tabaxi's
like 2 games into
language
it.
is common.
Huh.
Sort of like how Orc doesn't really have a written language.
They speak Common.
Well, Orc does have a written language, but it's actually based off the Dwarven written language.
I've never played as
I played the true neutral Orc fighter, which was the hardest thing to ever role play.
True neutral Orc. But yeah, so a lot of races also means you have certain language traits. And you can usually pick another language trait as well, but we'll get there when we get there. So that's Dragonborn again. Very proud creatures. So like I said last time, dwarfs. Dwarfs are hardy. They're bulky. They're usually nothing but muscle. And so let's see. Long memory, long grudges. They're honestly, I have always thought the best representation for dwarves is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
If you want to know what a dwarf is like, watch Lord of the Rings. Gimli, all of them. That's a perfect representation of dwarves. They're loud. They're bolsterous. If you want to play as a race,
and they all speak with a Scottish accent.
Always. And if you want to play as a race that can drink any other race under the table, play as a dwarf.
Oh yes.
They will drink anyone under the table. So then you get into the concept of names. They give you example names, so Morgron, Osric, Oscar. You don't have to pick a name like that. It's more Ember.
That is like the most like normal name I've seen.
Yeah, and so it is important for role playing purposes. And so instead of last names, they have clan names, and it usually is stuff like Battleborn, Battlehammer, Ungart.
And clan is very important to dwarves.
Very, very, very. But again, if you want to play as a dwarf, go to dndbeyond.com or Player's Handbook, and it'll tell you everything you need to know.
Including the sub-races.
Oh, yeah. So there's all kinds of hill dwarves, there are forest dwarves, although you never see forest dwarves, and there's mountain dwarves and all this. And so this is just everything that you really need to know about playing as a dwarf. And every character page will have all this information that you need to know.
Go Dark Vision. So, there you go, D&D Beyond. I feel that's the ultimate source right now.
Absolutely, or the Player Handbook.
Yeah. So
we're gonna go with human. Let's view the human details. So also another thing about humans versus elves, dwarves, dragonborn is humans have the shortest lifespan.
Yep.
If you play as a pure human, I say pure, but that means your mom was a human, your dad's a human, you are a human. Elves live for what, centuries?
400 years.
400 years?
Like the average, I think.
Something like that. Dwarves live for a long time. Dragonborn live for a long time. Tiefling live about a little bit longer than a human. Yeah, humans don't live. They live.
I think the second shortest is the orcs.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And so humans, we live anywhere from 75 to 100 years
old. Tieflings. Tieflings as well. Tieflings share the pretty much same lifespan as humans.
Well, yeah, because they're just cursed humans.
They're the demons.
So, again, this is where... So basically what all this is, it's basically a fantasy version of planet Earth. So...
There we go.
All right, and so here are the human traits. So your ability scores. Let's take a... Well, actually, you know what? Let's take us one step at a time. So we're playing as a human.
Yep. So let's go over here and...
Let's see.
Race.
So our race is a human. Human. Player name. Or character name. What's our character name going to be?
It's going to be a fighter, so... Mike. Go.
Mike. All right, Mike... Stabby.
Stabby, okay.
Mike Stabby.
Go Mike Stabby here.
Mike Stabby. Player name, that's where your name would go. So Justin's working it, so we'll go ahead and...
We'll just call it Black Box, since we are at Black Box Gaming.
Black Box Gaming.
Alright,
so we decided that we're going to be a human. So class and level, so we are level 1 fighter.
Yep. Always put class first.
Yeah, I usually do a fighter, then I usually put a dash.
Yep. And 1.
Okay, so background is kind of... That's more of an advanced thing, honestly.
I really don't do that until I do character roles.
That's fair.
And sometimes, even as a DM, I tell people to roll first.
Yeah.
But if I'm really especially new players, roll first, see what you sort of get, then base your character off this. But I'm also that same DM. If I'm playing with a group of friends that have been playing forever, sure, you want to be a fighter? Hope you get above like a 10 on your strength. If not, you're going to be the world's weakest fighter.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into alignments. My favorite. Okay, so everyone has seen... I assume everyone's seen the various alignment memes. So
many.
Your alignment is kind of overall how your character acts. So you have your lawful, good, and chaotic. Or neutral. Lawful, neutral, and chaotic. Then you have what is it?
Well, actually,
Good.
it's good, neutral, and evil.
Yeah.
It's your. Then it goes. You can be lawful, neutral, or chaotic of that chosen.
Exactly. And the analogy I've always used is an old woman falls down. So an old woman falls down. If you are lawful good, that means you're going to help her up, help her get across the street, and you've done your good deed for the day. Neutral good, you just help her up. Chaotic good is helping her up, and then like, no, where's my coin? I helped you up.
Neutral is
true. Neutral is you just watched her fall down. And you're just kind of like, crap, dude, that sucks. Lawful neutral is, I guess you report it to someone, like, hey, that lady fell down.
Yeah, it's like a chaotic neutral is.
You laugh. You think it's the funniest thing in the world.
I will take the evil part because this is where I always play.
By the way, I always play as chaotic evil, unless I'm playing as paladin. So lawful evil is, she fell down. You're gonna help her up, find the guy that did it, and mutilate him.
Yep.
Neutral evil, there's a pretty good chance that you may have pushed her over, but
no, that is not neutral.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
chaotic evil.
Neutral evil is pretty much you. All right, she fell over. Maybe I should go find that guy.
Yeah, you're not gonna help her up.
Chaotic evil was. I wonder what's going to happen to this woman if I push her over into the street.
Oh, yeah. So chaotic. So basically, yeah. So this is just overall how your character composes themselves. If you're playing as a barbarian, true neutral is probably the way you want to go. Playing as... You don't think so?
True neutral to me is the hardest thing to roleplay because, honestly, if you're playing a true neutral, you have no opinion about anything.
You're just here for the ride.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like... Oh my God, that person is killing that other person. Where a lawful good would be like, oh my God, we need to stop this. Chaotic evil is like, how many more people can we get involved in this?
Chaotic evil is like, don't kill him. That's my guy. I know him.
True neutral.
And I'm joining on the fun.
True neutral is like, I'm not getting involved.
I feel like true neutral is like, I'll do whatever the party consents to.
Yeah, pretty much. True neutral is I have no opinion on anything whatsoever. So, the other thing to remember when it comes to these alignments, too, whatever you pick to start with...
It can change.
It can change. Your character evolves, in the sense, as you play. They develop. It's like a human. Just like anybody else. Like, you started off, you are not the same person you were when you were 5.
Now, you don't have to change it. If you want to play as a neutral good the entire campaign, do it. No one's going to stop you. But if you kind of get tired of being lawful good, because maybe your chaotic good... companion is having a blast.
Exactly.
You can chalk it up to he's a bad influence on me, and that looks fun.
Peer pressure is a thing.
Absolutely. And again, really what all this is for, it's roleplay fodder. It helps you act as your character. I personally always play as chaotic evil because it throws a wrench in the DM's plans, and you'll learn if you play as a DM. You must be a glutton for punishment because.
I think the best way I can explain this as a worldly point of view, just to sort of piggyback on the old lady thing. Lawful good is you are that good citizen that is going to do whatever the law says you're going to do.
You do the right thing always.
The chaotic evil is I'm fixing to overthrow this thing and send this entire country into chaos.
Absolutely, and that spawned the meme. The murder hobos.
So, murder hobos. Let me explain murder hobos because I am so guilty of this, and I know it's like the bane of most DMs' existence. Absolutely. Because DMs want to keep the story going, they want to make it entertaining. Well, that's hard to do when the person that has the information that you need to give the players, the players went ahead and killed them because, good, they were standing there.
Absolutely. Basically, murder hobos is basically if you have nothing to offer me, I'm going to murder you. And even if you do give me information, I might murder you anyways. And that throws a wrench in the DM's plans because the person that you murdered may have been a pivotal character for later on. Now the DM has to rewrite some plans or have to improvise on the spot, which usually is the whole, like, guys, give me like 5 minutes. I got to go edit this real quickly. And so, but yeah, basically... Your alignment is just how your character holds himself, and it's how you role play as them.
And I won't lie, the last time I played Murder Hobo, our whole party got sent to literal hell.
Oh yeah.
And we went through the whole 7 circles of hell.
You go to hell, you go to prison, all that fun stuff.
Prison is fun, especially when you burn down the entire village just to get one person out of jail.
And so, really, there really is no correct way to pick your alignment. You just do whatever sounds fun to you, I think. I've played as just about every alignment you can. But I say, for now, let's go ahead and make him, he's a fighter.
Yeah, he's a human.
So let's go ahead and make him... Larful.
I don't have my regular keyboard. How about lawful neutral?
Lawful neutral sounds good. Lawful neutral sounds like a good plan. So he's lawful neutral. He believes in following the law, but he doesn't always do the right thing. He will follow the law. He will sometimes do the right thing. That's about it, really.
We'll hit the background later on.
Oh, yeah. Experience points, that would be 0 for now because you have no experience.
None.
All right, so now we get to go into rolling your attributes. Now, there's a couple of different ways to build your character. There's kind of a beginner, intermediate, and an advanced. So the way that you can do it is we picked our class. So, could you go back to the character sheet?
Yep.
So, you have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And
charisma.
One of the best ways to determine this is the old tomato saying. The tomato saying is...
There we are.
Strength is being able to crush a tomato. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato. Constitution is being able to eat a bad tomato. Intelligence is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit-based salad. And charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad. Basically, strength, everyone knows what strength is. Dexterity, that's how well you can use stuff like bows, crossbows, staffs, spears. Constitution is your overall... What's up?
Dexterity is also like avoiding traps.
Yeah.
The old analogy, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly.
That is dexterity.
Constitution is how hardy you are. That's your overall health. If you're playing as like a paladin, you're going to have high constitution because you're a tank. Intelligence and wisdom. People get these two mixed up all the time. And that's the thing.
I do still, even to this day.
I do too.
It's common, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Ever.
So intelligence is basically, if you're playing as a wizard or a magic user, high intelligence. Wisdom is your smarts. So that's it, basically. Wisdom is how smart you are. Intelligence is your ability to use magic. I've always been told by my friend Kenny, who's an amazing DM, and wisdom is being able to read a book. Intelligence is being able to read a magic book.
Yeah.
And then charisma is how charming you are.
The bard.
The bards. Bards are incredibly charismatic. Being a bard is being a charismatic is being able to talk your way out of a fight. It's being able to wound women or men.
Or other things.
Or other things. I've played as a bard. I played as one bard. I slept with everything that I can. Orc, slept with it.
I amazingly
slept with it.
As the bard I played for the first time and the last time I played bard because it was last campaign, I slept with absolutely nothing. I was not your stereotypical. I had made myself. I am not going to be the stereotypical bard, but I did use my woo and charm to start revolutions.
There you go. Oh, real quickly. So we went over races. Let's go over classes real quickly. So we already decided that we're going to be a fighter. But just to give you a little bit more in depth. So again, barbarian, swing your axe first, ask questions later. Very strength based. Now each one of them has saves. We'll go into saves once we've rolled up all of our stats. Bard, again, bards. Bard is your classic. If you ever see Monty Python or the Holy Grail,
yeah,
when they were like walking along, there's that one guy that was like
Sir Robin. Yeah. Sir Robin.
So yeah, bards are singers.
Well, no, they do not have to be a singer.
They don't have to, but normally bards are like when you slay a dragon. That's the person like, come, let me tell you the tale of Mike Stabby and the Red Dragon. They play instruments basically.
We will do the next video on the bard.
Absolutely, because the bard's
fun.
I'm not gonna say bard is, and I find it so weird that he's a basic character. Bards are not basic.
Oh, Bard is the Swiss Army knife of the D&D world. It is multi everything.
Clerics, they are usually priests. Not usually, but they're healers. So they're healers. Your job is to heal. And there's the old classic, protect your healer. Druids are wizards of nature. You call upon nature as your ally.
No metal.
No metal. Fighters.
Swingy.
Maybe a bow, maybe a crossbow.
But we're a little bit smarter than the barbarians.
Yeah. Monks are martial artists, basically. Think of fighters, but they use martial arts. They're usually spiritual. Paladins they fight for a god. Yeah. And you can choose whichever god you want, and then you've got, what are they called?
Your deity?
Deity, yes, but no, the paladins that break their oath breakers.
Oath breakers.
That's an advanced thing. We'll get into that later. Rangers, again, think of Aragon. You can use either a longbow or a sword. They're usually not outcasts, but they don't like cities. They like to hang out in the forest because they're hunters.
They're on their own.
Rogues, they're assassins, basically.
Assassins, thieves, rogue. There you go.
Okay, so now we get into the big one. A lot of people get up sorcerer, warlocks, and wizards confused. So, oh man, I don't have much experience with magic users. But basically,
okay,
I'll let you explain this one. I don't know a lot about magic.
All right, so basically, warlock, Eldritch Blast.
Well, I mean, like the overall, I know that warlocks are,
warlocks you're going to use more of your cantrips with.
Well, I mean, how would you describe it in a basic way?
Okay, so your sorcerer, to think of it this way, is the guy that's going to go out. He has, he was sort of given a gift of magic. It wasn't something that he learned. It was sort of like, I was born of this, and for some reason I could cast the fireball.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Warlocks pretty much made that deal with the devil.
Yeah.
That's how they got their magic powers. And wizards, they learned from books.
Yeah.
That's how they learned how to do it.
I do know that the difference in character is wizards are normally more social.
Yes.
Normally a king has a wizard. Warlocks are
very outcast.
Yeah, you'll find them in bogs and forests. They like to be left alone. Warlocks aren't always villains, but 9 times out of 10,
most of society in the D&D world looks at warlock as a vile creature.
Sorcerers are kind of in between. Sorcerers, you can kind of choose what you want to do. They can be outcasts. They can be whatever they want, really. So, but overall, warlocks, outcasts. They made a deal with some kind of evil deity. Wizards are scholars. Gandalf he's technically not a human, but
Yeah.
Wizard, think of that. But yeah, so. And like I said, before you pick your class, read everything you want to know about it. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and view fighters. So fighters they're not knights, but
well-rounded.
They're well-rounded.
They
can use basically just about any melee weapon: swords, spears, bows, crossbows. Now they're not going to be super proficient with those weapons, with crossbows and bows, but they have the option of using it.
There we go.
So
there we go.
All right, so yeah, simple weapons and martial weapons. What's a simple weapon?
A club.
A
short sword. Anything that, like, a city guard would carry would be a very simple weapon. Anything a goblin would carry would be a very simple weapon.
Your martial weapons are going to be, again, swords, flails, rapiers. Really, any kind of close combat weapon will fall under either simple or martial. But then you have stuff like spears, staffs, halberds. Those are going to be more kind of dexterous based. Okay, so tools, none.
Yeah.
Your saving throws are going to be strength and constitution. So saving throws are... How do I describe a saving throw? How would you describe a saving throw?
All right, so saving throw is... I want to go... There's this rock or boulder rolling at me. It's not rolling really fast. I'm going to go ahead and try to stop it. So I would take my D20, I would roll it to see if that saving throw is high enough to stop that boulder.
So obviously a rogue isn't going to have strength or constitution. A rogue's probably going to have more of dexterity and I think wisdom or charisma. I can't remember. But every class, not every class has different saving throws. A barbarian is going to have the same exact throws. Wizards are going to have intelligence or wisdom. So those are the ones you can do with. Now, your skills, you'll always pick 2 skills. You have acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival. So, Acrobatics is acrobats, backflips, front flips, hanging from high positions.
Parkour.
Parkour
Is like my prime example to go to for acrobatics in D&D. I'm
Perfect.
jumping building to building, chasing a guy, make an acrobatics check. Oh, you failed, you slipped your footing, now you're hanging on to the gutter.
And these aren't locked. You can 100% be an acrobatic barbarian if you want to. Animal handling is exactly what it sounds like. It's how well you handle animals. It's you get a better chance of kind of calming a wolf.
Yeah.
Athletics is athletics. How fast can you run? How well are you overall athletically?
Can you pull yourself up on something?
Exactly. History is for the nerds.
I love my history and insight.
Yeah. Insight is this person lying to me or not? Intimidation is it's intimidation.
I love intimidation.
Oh yeah, intimidation.
Especially when the bard has intimidation.
Perception is key. Perception is, I don't always recommend perception, but if you don't know what else to pick, just go with perception. It's overall
perception is a great skill to use.
Yeah, but I guess I mean like if you know, okay, I want athletics for sure, but I don't know what else to get. Just go with perception.
Yeah, because then it's like I think it's like you approach the house. Do I see anything from the window? Roll perception.
And we'll get into that later.
Oh, and survival.
Survival is great as well. It's how well can you survive in the forest without, if you have no food, how well is your character at foraging small game, berries, edible mushrooms, so on
Tracking.
And so forth.
Yeah. All right,
So let's go ahead and go back to our character sheet. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and so you can either roll all your dice. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's that? 6. So you can do this a couple of different ways. You can roll 6 dice, which we need something to write this stuff. Actually, you know what? Let me just put it in my phone.
There you go.
So we're gonna do it the classic way, which is you roll 6 numbers, and then you just kind of decide where you want each of them to go. Alrighty, let us.
Well, wait, we roll. There's a couple ways to do this too, based off your DM. Like I have DM'd where you roll 6 dice, you take the 4 highest numbers off those 6 dice, and that's that number.
Yeah.
And there's some DMs that I've also done where you just take your 4 dice, you roll them, you get what you get.
Yeah. Now if you want to do it really chaotically, you roll your 6 dice. So let's say you get 6 strength, 9 dexterity, 2 constitution, 12 intelligence, 4 wisdom, and 1 charisma. So what you do after you roll all those is you just try to pick a class that would best suit that. That is the most chaotic way to play this game. I've done that. Or you do the exact opposite.
Like pick a fighter, and whatever we get is what we get.
We'll do it what I think is the most forgiving way, which is, again, roll 6 numbers, assign the traits you want. Let's go ahead and roll the first dice.
All right, so the first set, if you'll notice, and I'll pull it. You want.
All right, so what's that? 6?
6, 12, 14, 16.
Now, we're just doing what right now? Where did you get 16? Explain that to them.
So we added up our 4 dice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this instead of doing the 6 dice.
Okay.
So 16 is going to be our number.
Okay, 16.
All right, that's our first roll. Our second roll is
7 to 11.
Yep, 11.
Okay.
Third roll.
8.
11.
9, 11. Okay.
Oh, 16 again.
Okay.
A 10.
Okay. Last one.
13.
13. Okay, so we now have our 6 numbers, and now we're playing as a fighter. So fighters, strength is a must.
Yep.
I would say as a fighter, your most important was going to be strength
and constitution,
and then dexterity is also kind of nice to have. So definitely when we want to go with the 16 strength, I would say that next one is that 13.
Okay.
Now, well, actually, we have another 16.
And that should be going con.
Yeah.
And you'll hear us abbreviate this sometimes.
So 11, 11, and 10. So with those 11 and 10, doesn't really matter where you put them at this point. So I'd say
11 for charisma.
Yeah, and then intelligence and wisdom, not that important for a fighter. You don't got to be the smartest. You just got to be the strongest. Okay, so
we got our pluses.
Let's go ahead and refer back to the manual. Okay, so now you have your ability score summary. Now we have to go through our modifiers. And if you go back to the character sheet, please, right there underneath proficiency bonus. Oh yes, I'm sorry, right there. Yeah. So underneath it, you have those little ovals. That's where your modifier is going to go. So as you can see right here, we got a 16. It's going to be in the top on the right column.
Yep. So plus 3.
So we got a plus 3 on that one.
Plus 3. And since we know it's that, we're going to go ahead and put plus 3 is there. 13 is our next.
I believe that's 2?
1.
1, okay.
Yeah.
And I believe
all the rest are zeros.
And you can put the 0 if you want. It doesn't really matter. Or you can just draw a line through it. So what this is for is, let's say I roll for a strength ability. I want to lift a heavy boulder. So I would roll where's my D20 at?
D20's, oh, grab the giant one.
Giant D20 it is. So I want to lift a big old boulder out of the way from my party. So I have my gigantic D20, so I roll a 10. Technically that does pass. Let's say I roll a 7. That's technically a failure.
Yeah.
But I have that plus 3 modifier. So now
that's technically
it's a 10. So that's where last video I'd mentioned a nat 20. If you roll an 8, if I were to roll a 17, I take that plus 3, now it's a 20. But because of the modifier, it's not a natural 20. I don't get that.
It's a dirty 20.
It's a dirty 20. No one likes dirty 20s.
But in my case, where Stitch is the 20, that would be, if I rolled just a 20, it would be a natural 20. Yes, I did Stitch as a...
Ooh, nice. So again, dexterity, whatever you roll, add a 1. Constitution, add a 3. Intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, you don't get a modifier.
And we've missed something on this as well.
What's that?
We haven't had our ability score increase for our human.
That's true. That's very true. So now every number gets a nice little boost. So 17, 14, 17.
I don't think it makes much of a difference. It might on the charisma.
I think, yeah, it becomes a plus 1 now. So that's a nice little bonus. Let's reference just to be sure. So 12, yep, that is a plus 1 now.
Yep.
Very nice. So again, we've been doing this for years. We make mistakes. Now, don't feel bad if you make a mistake. What I usually recommend is when I first got into D&D, my DM was much more experienced than me. So he knew, for those of us that were new, he offered to look over our character sheets, and I played as an orc.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, did you give yourself your strength bonus? Like, oh, I didn't know. He's like, go ahead and do that. And if he hadn't have done that, I would have cheated myself out of a nice little strength bonus. So let's see what else here. So age, alignment, you can follow the alignment recommendation. I just pick whatever I feel like picking. Speed, we'll get into speed when we get into combat.
I think right now we'll hit languages. We need to go back to our fighter class.
All right, so let's see. So armor, we'll get into armor and all that when we get to inventory. Okay, so let's see what else we need to know here. I haven't made a character in I haven't played in 5 months.
I need to grab a D10 because we've got to do our hit points.
Yeah. Hit points.
This is 10
plus your Constitution modifier. So that'd give us 12.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so 1d10. So 10 plus our. Yep. So I don't even have to go grab the dice. So.
Now we're looking at the D&D website. The book is going to tell you the same exact thing.
Speed 30. I'll go ahead and put that in.
Then current hit points at maximum. It's going to be, what is that? 13.
Yep.
And then again, that's a number that will change constantly as you level up.
I'll just put this in here for reference for right now.
Now, temporary hit points, that's going to be for a combat situation. If I'm playing and I have 13, and if my cleric basically gives me a spell that kind of boosts my constitution, now I've got 19 hit points. I would put 19 for now. Once it drops back down to 13, it doesn't count anymore. So.
All right, so the other thing we need to know, savings throws.
Yay!
Strength and constitution. So, strength, constitution. Which, don't we get another +1 there?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, that's what it was. So, that would be a +4 for that. And a +4 for that.
Yep.
And now your dexterity will be the same as your regular. So +1, 0, 0, and then +1.
All right, and so let's go ahead and pick our skills. Now you see a lot more listed here. You got acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, athletics, deception, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, performance, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand, stealth, and survival. It only lists a few of those on the website, but you can pick any of those. And so let's go over the ones that we didn't mention on the website. So,
actually, I believe since we're not quite using the human race anymore, I can come back up here to the top. Sources are. There should be a thing for background search.
The trusty search. Forgot a C in there. But it's okay, it auto-corrected.
Oh no, that's it. Oh, horrible.
Let's go ahead and I say we go ahead and just pick our proficiencies for now. Oh, yeah, you're right, characters.
Anyways, I would say
let's go ahead and go with athletics.
Yep.
And intimidation.
Yeah, those would be the two good ones. So.
And again, you want to base that off of your class. So,
there's athletics. That would be a +4 now.
Yep.
And intimidation.
That's a charisma, so that gives us a +1.
Nope, +2 because we are proficient.
You are right. And so, real quickly, just real arcana. That's your proficiency in magic. Deception. How well can you lie? Let's see. Investigation. Think of perception, but you're not investigating things. Medicine. Self-explanatory. Nature. Can you identify a poisonous plant? Performance is mostly a bard thing. How well can you perform?
I've used it outside the bard actually before too.
Yeah. Religion is mostly going to apply if you put religion in your background. So paladins, necromancers, shamans. Sleight of hand is how well can you steal things. Stealth. Stealth is how stealthy are you, and we already went over survival. So all things to consider when you're building your character.
I am just sort of filling in here as we go.
So all of these we do have based off of basically. So right next to you see it says dexterity, wisdom, intelligence. So we base that off of those numbers to the far left.
Yes.
So as you can see, acrobatics, we're not proficient in it, but it is a dexterity, and that's a +1. So we give it a +1.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. So we got that done. Now, personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, that's all character creation.
That's going through and looking at your background.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at what would our, let's see, what would be next? What would our initiative be? And we'll get into what initiative is here real quickly once we find out what it is.
Okay, so that would be back to the player's handbook. Using equipment.
Yeah, this book is kind of a lot to read.
Yeah. Your ability score, ability modifiers. Hit point, proficiency. Where is it? Choose class. This is embarrassing.
It is kind of embarrassing. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, because
we haven't done this in a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been about a year. So it's based off or is it on our fighter?
It might be. Because I don't know about you, but how I've always done initiative is at the beginning of combat, we just roll our initiative. That's what we've always done. It makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean.
So real quickly, while Justin's looking for that,
I think it's based off our proficiency bonus.
More than likely.
Which is +2.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be +2. So initiative is
those usually go hand in hand.
So your initiative is basically whenever combat starts. So let's say it's Justin and I, and we are fighting 2 kobolds, which are basically little tiny fox people, sort of.
We got our D20.
We would both roll an initiative. So Justin's initiative is 7. My initiative 16.
Oh, guess who's going first?
And then first kobold 8. Second kobold is 10. So 16, and then
7. But because I have my initiative modifier, it would be a 9.
So basically, the highest number downwards, that's the order of sequence. So my character would go first, then the kobold who got a 10, and then you, and then the last kobold. That's just, you roll that at the beginning of combat, not every turn. And that's all initiative is.
All right.
So now armor class, I believe that's going to be based off of our actual armor itself.
Yeah.
So
unless you're a barbarian, then it's
I think it's like 15 if you have no armor. Or it's 20, one of those two.
No, it's not ridiculously high. It's 13 if you have no armor.
So armor class is
like level 2. It goes up
kind
to 15.
of there's been a big debacle and debate about armor class. So here's how we've always done armor class. And I've never met 2 DMs that agree on armor class. It's kind of a confusing subject.
It is.
So let's just say for now, our armor class is, I'm going to put a temporary number there for now. This is not the definitive one. Let's just say it's 12.
Okay, that works.
Okay. So I get attacked by an orc.
Mm-hmm.
And he does 14 damage to me. My 12 armor class will absorb 12 damage, but the other 2 is how much direct damage I do.
Okay, so this is where I do mine different.
Yeah, everyone does it kind of differently.
If we take the D20, and we go ahead and roll it.
1.
Critical fail. So we won't use that example. All right, so I'll roll a 7. So that is my attempt to hit you.
Okay.
Because I got a 7, I don't meet or beat your armor class. There is no way possibly I can deal damage to you.
Yeah, it's like everyone kind of does it differently.
So if I were to roll a 13, cool, I can now roll to see what damage I do.
Yeah, like I said, everyone kind of does it differently. I think yours is the more correct way to do it. I normally do that for my beginner friends because they find it very confusing, and it's very simple, basic math. And as you go on, your armor class gets better with better armor that you get.
Yeah.
But however you kind of want to do it is up to you. There technically is no wrong way to play D&D. So,
DM discretion.
DM discretion. So, armor class, we're having a little bit of trouble finding, and I do apologize. But we'll just go ahead and stick with 12. But basically, your armor class is based off of the armor that you have. And the only exception is going to be lizard people.
Barbarians.
And barbarians. Barbarians basically have a special ability where they actually have a
bonus for not wearing armor.
Exactly, because they only wear like loincloths or belts or anything like that. And then lizard people are scaly, so they have natural armor class.
So, other than that, so right here, if you were a beginning player, we have you set up that you could take this character in, be like, cool, DM, I've got this, I'm sort of ready to play. and then the DM can be like, all right, depending on how the DM runs the game.
Yeah.
Either they're going to give you a certain amount of gold to spend to buy equipment, or they're going to be like...
That's what I like to do, personally. I find it more fun if doing it like that. So...
Or they're going to give you, like, all right, this is going to be your starting equipment based on your character.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, like, a short sword.
I feel like that's the faster way to do it. If you only got, like 2 hours together to build it, I do it like that. But if I know I have numerous hours, yeah, I'll give them, like, 100 gold pieces, and I'll basically put the book down, and I'll be like, hey, guys, here's your catalog of things to buy. Now, of course, you want to buy a weapon, and you want to buy armor. That'll usually run, I would say the armor and the weapon will usually run at about 80 gold. That remaining gold, buy useful little dumb things. Buy rations. You want to buy like one of my favorite things to do actually was when I played as a rogue. I had a little crossbow.
Yep.
And I bought numerous glass bottles. The reason I did that is because my character would put a glass bottle on one of the bolts, and I would shoot it at a wall, and it would cause a distraction.
Oh, genius.
Yeah, and so how you do that is up to you. If you actually look in the book, you do find, if you do want to do the whole, okay, well, we're going to skip all that. Some of the stuff's going to be like an adventurer pack, a thieves pack, dungeoneer pack.
There's a performance pack as well.
Yeah, and so that'll...
And there's a gambler's pack.
Yeah, is there?
Yes, that comes with, like, your choice of chessboard, dice, or cards.
Okay, and that's going to have the basic stuff that your character needs. So if we're playing as basically a fighter, I would say our best bet is probably the adventurer pack.
That or the dungeoneer.
And that's going to have lantern, a couple of rations, rope. How you get your inventory is really up to you. I find the 100 or so gold to be the more fun option. So personality, ideals, bonds, and flaws, that's up to the player. The DM has no control over that.
Yep. And that's all in the player's handbook.
Absolutely.
So that is your go-to for that. Our goal with this video was sort of to show you how to roll your character and get the basic numbers that you need. That way, when you go into your first session, be like, look, I've already rolled all this. Here's my ability modifiers. They're already all together. How are we going to do equipment? And of course, you get to pick your background, personality traits. That's all on you.
Now, one thing I do want to go over that I love doing, I talked to you about this, was quirks.
Oh, yes.
So quirks are these fun little quirks. So to give you an example, one of my favorite quirks of all time was I played as, I think it was a human for sure. I don't remember the exact class. I want to say it was a fighter maybe. And you can find websites full of quirks. I don't think Wizards of the Coast has an official quirk. But basically, so my character was a human. And he was born human. His entire village burnt down. He was raised by vampires, but he himself was not a vampire. But because he was raised by them, he thought he was a vampire. So my character, and again, quirks are nothing but roleplay fodder. So anytime
a wizard with Tourette's.
Yeah. So anytime my character went to the sun, it burns my skin. My skin isn't boiling or smoking because I don't have damage by the sun, Or perhaps your character is I can't remember what it's called, but when your character gets nervous, he likes to eat.
Oh, yes.
And quirks just make the characters more fun. I've done plays with quirks. I've done plays without quirks. I feel like with quirks is if you just really want to have fun. I feel like quirks is if you know for a fact the campaign's going to last like maybe 4 days. I don't recommend quirks if it's going to pick up this whole lengthy.
Oh, I would do it with a lengthy one too.
But it's
imagine a cleric with anger management issues.
Oh my god. But, I mean, the quirks...
Screw you. I am not being a healer anymore.
Quirks is up to player discretion. You don't have to ask the DM, hey, can I do a quirk? No, because that's just part of your personality. And so, personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws. Again, that's going to be in the book. Personality traits, is your character selfish? Ideals, does he believe in doing the right thing? Does he not like a certain race? That's up to you. That's not in a book. You can just decide, I don't like tabaxis because... He was
they attacked my family.
Yeah, exactly. Bonds. Okay, so bonds is a little bit more complicated, but basically, who do you hold a bondship with? If you get into not advanced, but if you have like a pet wolf, you bond with that wolf.
Like you have a bond with nature, or I seem to get along a lot better with magic users than I do melee users.
Absolutely. And then your flaws. What are your character's flaws? Is he insecure about something? Does he have a troubled past?
Does he have a drinking issue?
Does he have a drinking issue?
Which I've had the character have had before.
I've had tons of those, and we're gonna kind of get into a little bit of that when we do our video on DMing and the rules of that. So features and traits. This is where you would describe what your character looks like. Is he tall? Is he short? Does he have any scars, beards, any jewelry, anything kind of like that? Okay, so attacks and spell casting. So bear in mind, we're not going to fill this information in because that would take us forever because we're typing. Yeah. But attacks and spell casting. So if we had, let's go ahead and say we have a sword, a shield, and basic leather armor.
So I'm going to just go ahead and put short because it's the one I remember. So short sword.
Or sword.
Because of it. Attack bonus because
I think it's a D4.
Yes. Which would be a plus. Yep. Oh.
No, it's a D6 plus 4? No, I can't remember. But let's go ahead and make up some numerics for now.
Yeah.
So
so the attack bonus actually goes towards your roll for your attack.
You're right.
So it would be like I'm attacking with my short sword. I roll my D20.
It's a successful hit.
I rolled the 12, so I get the +3. So and I believe it's a +3. So the damage then would be a
15
D6 plus, since it's a proficiency
D64. D644.
It's the ultimate sword. So there you go.
So yeah, so D6 plus 4. Now it also says type. You've got slash, pierce, bludgeon, all kinds of stuff. And that mostly plays into the fact that if you're fighting someone that's heavily in plate armor, slash and pierce probably isn't going to do very well. It'll still damage them, but if it's in a heavy armor, bludgeon is what you want to do.
Yeah, so you might have a disadvantage with...
Absolutely. And then there are 3 of them because short sword, you can do a shield bash, all kinds of stuff. And then here's where you would put your cantrips. Or we're going to go more into cantrips when we go over a video on magic using.
Actually, I think the new character sheets, if I remember correct,
they do have cantrips.
Yep, they have a whole page. It's on
basically cantrips are just starting spells and abilities.
That costs nothing, and you can use them.
Just use them over and over again. Most spells require usually like a rest period.
Short rest, long rest.
Yeah, and we'll get into that when we get into basic gameplay. Let's see what else. So equipment, again, you'll pick your equipment.
Let's go over currency, because currency is one of those things.
Currency, I love it. Okay, so currency is a whole ideal thing. So much like us, we've got pennies, got nickels, dimes, quarters, $50. They don't even make anymore. $1, $5.
Actually,
$10.
They do make $50 still, amazingly.
Crazy. $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, hundreds. So the equivalency for that is, what is it? It's copper.
Copper is the equivalent of a penny.
Silver is like $1.
No, silver is like a dime.
I always thought that silver would be more like
maybe a quarter,
like a $50, because well, no, I can't remember.
Well, silver's not that, but yeah, a $50 will work.
Yeah, and then what's the E? I can't remember what the E one is.
EP, don't worry about EP. Nobody ever plays with the EP.
What is it?
Alexium.
I can't remember. All I know is they added it in like 5e, I think.
They did, and I have never used it. I have never played with a DM that uses it. I, as a DM, have never used it.
Yeah.
We have gone straight, skip that, go straight to the GP, which is gold
piece, and that is your $1. That is your common amount. And then you have platinum.
Platinum is like a $20 bill.
Oh yeah, platinum is, and then so when you kill something and you loot it, you're mostly going to get copper and silver. Gold is
chest.
Yeah, basically.
Or big bosses.
Yep. And then you got your other proficiency in languages. Now, of course, you can take 100 copper pieces and turn it, and you go to a bank basically, because there are banks in D&D,
and turn it into a silver piece.
Turn it to a silver piece. Take 100 silver pieces. Got a gold piece now. Take 100 of those, you got a platinum piece now. Take 100 of those, and your character is filthy rich.
Yes.
So then you have your
other... And then we're building economics and everything that we need.
Oh yeah, if you have a DM that will build. I've built economies. I've had players that have crashed economies.
I have as a player with another player actually built a business, had a business ledger, a business plan. Had wages for NPCs that we were playing, and went through and was like, okay, this is the cost of the materials that we need. This is how much the labor is going to cost. This is how much we're going to sell. This is what we're going to export. This is what we're going to import.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually ended up, I think, about 3 sessions later, we were making like 40 or 50 platinum pieces a person.
You can get crazy in D&D. Because again, the imagination's a limit. As long as the DM allows it, it flies. So,
the DM was like, we made mistakes here. This should have never happened.
Other proficiencies in language, again, you can play, you can choose. Normally, you can choose another language, and there's tons of them.
I think like Alkalite or something for a background gives you an extra language or something.
Again, character appearance.
Learn Goblin. Goblin's a good thing to learn.
Yeah. Character appearance, that goes in line with features and traits. You got your allies and organizations.
Guilds.
Additional features and traits, again, that's your appearance. Character backstory. This is, again, it's lore and it's roleplay fodder.
Create your backstory.
Absolutely. Please don't be one of those people that has no character. By that I mean, my character was raised on a farm. Okay, great. But
my character woke up, had amnesia. We have no clue why. We're trying to figure out who he is.
And we'll get into amnesia because that's a whole DM thing. But again, we'll get into that. Treasure is kind of finicky. Sometimes rubies. You can have personal treasures if the DM allows it. And then again, you've got your spell casting, spell save DC. And again, we'll get into that when it comes to magic. And I believe that is it. And again, I'm sure we did miss a couple of things in here. Google it, YouTube it, watch our channel. Like I said, this is the basic rolling. The rest of it you can find out of the book, or again, dndbeyond.com. There are tons of sources on how to build your character, and for the most part, most of it is role-playing and building the character that you want.
And there's also tons of videos out there, like, say you want to play a character like John Constantine. There's actually a video out there that teaches you pretty much how to make John Constantine.
How to build Conan the Barbarian.
I actually had Conan.
I have done that before. How to build.
I have made Ned Flanders before.
Was he a paladin?
Yes, he was.
Oh yeah.
And he had yellow skin because he had jaundice.
But I mean, build whoever you want. The only person that's ever gonna stop you is the DM. You know, and if you put something outlandish, like my strength is 20, DM's gonna be like, I don't believe you. Roll it again. And I've had that happen. I have rolled a 20 basically, and the DM's like, I don't like it. So,
I've done that once, but like the likelihood right there, that's another.
It's very difficult.
13. So,
but there are tons of ways to build character sheets.
Now I've had a bard. My last bard has had a charisma of 19 with the multiplier bonus for being a bard and everything. So that was amazing.
I believe it. So yeah, that's basic character building. Again, we just showed you how to roll everything. Your armor class, again, we kind of glanced over that, but that's, again, the book will tell you. If you start off with leather armor, it has an armor class of so-and-so.
Chainmail has its own. Plate has its own.
Certain characters have natural hit dice. Again, it'll tell you that. So real quickly, you do have these death saves up here. A death save real quickly is if your character is at 0 HP, you can do a death save, which means you roll a d20. If it's above a 10, your character still clings onto life.
You've got to get 3 successfuls
in order to fully revive, or you have a healer that heals you.
So if I roll a successful, then a fail, I can roll another successful.
It's that 5th roll that's going to get you.
As long as I roll above a 10, it's bam, I'm still alive, back to 1 HP.
That's where it comes into like your DM may do permadeath, which I've done numerous permadeaths, or you can have it to where your character is no longer on this adventure. Once you go back to an inn or a church, your character gets revived. But again, that's up to DM discretion. We'll go over that later. But this is basically everything, the basic rundown of building a character.
Exactly.
And so the next episode, we might be doing magic. This next episode, we might be doing possible how to role play, because that's actually a really, it is a huge deal in D&D. And so we have other topics. But until then,
as always,
I'm Justin.
And I am Adam.
And we will catch you guys later.
Here at Black Box
Gaming.
Hey, there's.
Alright guys, well, definitely hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot.
And down in the links below, we will have a link to our Patreon, where if you sign up for that, you get special rewards. Like, I'm going to have a $5 tier where you get a free mini. I will send you a mini if you do the $5 tier every month. So,
oh, and of course, come down to Black Box Gaming. Play some D&D with us. We will happily show you a great time indeed.
Yep, because
it may be good or bad.
Who knows? And we do more than just D&D here. We do Magic the Gathering. We do video games. We're set up to handle just about any tabletop. So,
Give me $20 and I'll dance for you.
There we go. Right there. So, we hope you have enjoyed. Keep an eye out for further videos. We're going to try to post one at least once a week. At least once a week for both series.
If any topics you guys want, again, just comment down below and we'll look into them and we'll make videos about them.